Kansas City, it's not looking good for your boy. Apparently, Rashee Rice is wanted by the cops. And just when you think you got a young rising star, you guys lose Tyreek Hill. Granted, you win 2 championships since losing Tyreek Hill, but you get another star in Rashee Rice who's coming up for great rookie campaign. But during the offseason, you can't stop a nigga from being 21. You just can't do it, bro. And you know what comes with youth? You just know it by now, bro. A lack of maturity, poor decision making. We have John Morant 2.0 on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, and it's happening in Kansas City, bro. But like a car crash, bro. Let's hope to God nobody died, but like nobody was there. So we got a car crash and we got a hit and run, bro. And apparently it was like street racing. Like I've gone into multiple times videos talking about some of the poor decisions that these young athletes keep making annually. It just seems like as they get younger, they get dumber, but you don't own the streets. You know what I mean? Just because you have all the money in the world to buy expensive cars does not mean you're allowed to race in the middle of society where other people aren't driving as fast as you. So now apparently you're wanted. This ain't looking good, bro. This ain't looking good.
It's like making videos like this because on one hand, I want to feel empathy for all of those involved. I want to be understanding that people that are young make really silly mistakes. But at the same time, when you make a silly mistake, sometimes you won't be forgiven for that mistake. Sometimes the mistake is so bad that it will, without a doubt, alter the course of your life. And fortunately, at least in this instance, it's not one of those scenarios. At the same time, things are looking really bad.
I ain't gonna front. I actually forgot about the Henry Ruggs case. Like to compare and contrast, like, come on, bro. Like, this is what I'm talking about. These niggas, they see somebody do some shit that was once in their position and they never think it's gonna happen to them. Or they just don't apply any sort of lessons learned. Like, look at the Henry Ruggs. My son lost his career. He's in jail. I think he got a 10-year sentence, which pretty much ends his career. It's over, bro. You went from being a young millionaire to sitting in a jail cell for 10 years because of driving fast in a residential area. It's like, damn, bro. Like,
Rice. As at the time that I'm making this video, we still don't know where he is. So before we get to the content, make sure
we don't know where he is. He's looking for the best lawyer in Kansas City.
Now that we get all that out,
that's what he doing. We don't know where he is. We know what's going on. He's gonna come out with a lawyer. Lawyer's gonna say somebody else was driving and he was a passenger. Somebody's gonna take the fall. Let's not act like we don't know what rich people do. He may be 21 and dumb, but he still got money. Come on now.
Happy Easter, everybody. The Kansas City Chiefs are no strangers to controversy. I mean, before the Super Bowl, Pat Mahomes Sr. was arrested, and even before that, last
what does that
year,
have to do with the Chiefs?
The Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory
got nothing to do with the Chiefs.
The Philadelphia Eagles, you would see their young, emerging wide receiver one do some very strange things, like declaring war against the fans of his former team. Like, you remember when Kadarius Toney got into Twitter beef with Giants366, who said Kadarius Toney just can't seem to let go of the fact that Joe Schoen didn't want him. He responds saying, "ID gaff about Joe or the Giants. Y'all spoke on me and I responded, oh yeah, the comments don't make
my son spells comments
more bizarre with
like Kodak.
Toney, as he was literally threatening fans on social media, asking some fans for an address so they can meet up and actually throw down. Probably my favorite clip of Kadarius Toney was the voice memos he's left for a particular Giants fan.
You talking about Miss Danny Jones? Apparently he missed me. I can show you the call log. He calling me, blowing me up. Fuck you talking about, hoe ass. Give a fuck about no music shit you talking about. You ain't slid on no block. You ain't pulled up on me yet. You ain't talking about shit within my DM. Pull up or shut the fuck up.
Is he from Florida?
Well, tell that nigga stop calling me then if he don't miss me. Get your pussy ass on my DM. You dropping an addy. Fuck.
So obviously the Chiefs are no strangers to wide receivers that could get themselves into some trouble. And ultimately, we figured out who Kadarius Toney was. He is a solid wide receiver, inconsistent as hell, drops passes at the worst times, and probably shouldn't be depended on as a wide receiver one. Is he a wide receiver two? Well, the jury's out on that. But
Toney trying to figure out why is he out here catching slugs over Rashee Rice. Yo, Toney caught the ether just now.
The Kansas City Chiefs made a noticeable effort during the offseason to try to figure out who Patrick Mahomes' next wide receiver one is going to be. This past offseason, they pursued Marquise Hollywood Brown and signed him to a 1-year prove-it deal. Pretty much the same contract.
Shit, I'll take $11 million to prove something.
Years ago. But Marquise Hollywood Brown might be the Kansas City Chiefs' brand new wide receiver too, as it seems like the Chiefs were able to find their wide receiver one in the second round of the 2023 NFL Draft this past year. Rashee Rice was a high upside wide receiver from SMU selected by the Chiefs this past year in the NFL Draft. And this is something that the Kansas City Chiefs have been doing regularly ever since they traded away Tyreek Hill. You see, once you have players like Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones that you have to sign to these large lucrative contracts, obviously you're going to have to make downgrades at other areas of your roster. So you don't have the luxury of paying Tyreek Hill $30 million a year annually and making him the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. But that's okay, because typically you don't win a Super Bowl by having the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL on your team. Tell me the last time a team won a Super Bowl with the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL on their team. I'll wait. So the strategy was very simple. The Chiefs were doing everything they could to find a replacement for Tyreek Hill. So the moment that he left, they decided to sign Marquez Valdes-Scantling because he was very fast, but at the same time, he had stone hands. As a matter of fact, that seemed to have been the trend for the Kansas City Chiefs for a while. They selected Sky Moore in the NFL Draft as well, because at the same time, he was very quick, but his abilities to actually make some difficult receptions the way Tyreek Hill would left a lot to be desired. And they were taking shots on almost any wide receiver they could. They brought in Juju Smith-Schuster for a year, which worked out really well because they were able to win a Super Bowl, and they would even take flyers on players like John Ross. But without a doubt, the most successful wide receiver that they had was the wide receiver that they found in the second round of the 2023 NFL Draft.
Oh, yeah, second round pick.
Individual that Patrick Mahomes clamored for, and even some draft pundits were calling a major reach. A wide receiver that got almost 1,000 yards receiving in his rookie year en route to a Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl, and without a doubt a wide receiver that many NFL fans, myself included, are expecting to take the next step in his second season with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. There's no question about it. Whoever is the wide receiver one for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs can have his life completely changed for the better.
Like what?
Seasons with Patrick Mahomes throwing him the football, and there's no question in my mind that this could be a guy that commands a top 10 wide receiver salary to play with the best quarterback in the NFL on one of the best teams in the NFL. Unfortunately, whenever you're 23 years old, you make horrific mistakes, and there are times where these horrific mistakes can ruin your life. And the clear example of this is none other than what happened with Henry Ruggs III. Henry Ruggs III was 23 years old when he decided to get drunk at Topgolf, get behind a Corvette, drive 156 miles per hour, crash into Tina Tinter's car that resulted in her car exploding and burning her and her dog to death, which not only ended Tina Tinter's life and ruined her family's life, but it also ruined Henry Ruggs' life.
Damn, that narrative is cold, bro. That really is, man. Condolences to that victim, man. Like, that's not something you expect when you get in your car, son. Like, you know what I mean? And these are routine things that everybody does. You know, you're in a residential neighborhood, you're driving with your friends or your dog, and then someone just crashes into you. You're not expecting anybody to be driving 150 miles an hour, bro. It's just so senseless. These niggas don't realize, and it be the richest mofos, bro. I understand broke folks doing this shit, but y'all actually got the good life. You know what I mean? All you need is a little bit of maturity but at that age, bro, like, these niggas ain't afraid to die, bro. We don't realize the consequences behind our actions until we're actually stuck in the situation. Unfortunately, that's how life works. And that's why they say the youth is often wasted on the young. You know what I mean? Because the most glorious days of our lives are when we're young, but that's when we really lack sense and understand shit. You know, and for this nigga to find himself in that situation, bro, it's like, it's tough. It's like, granted, he didn't kill nobody, but like, yeah. But to go back to Rashee Rice, like, at 23, son, obviously any adult will tell you speeding in any type of area where there's high traffic, there's a possibility for a car accident. But these niggas don't think, not me, not today. I know how to drive. But when you're going that fast and you lose control of the car, what do you think is going to happen, bro? You could have killed yourself.
and there's no way you could really come back from that. Even if you're speaking from a purely selfish perspective, Henry Ruggs lost out on tens of millions of dollars and has to live with the fact that he ended a poor woman's life each and every day for the rest of his life. He lost out on one of the most lucrative opportunities in the world just because he decided to get behind a Corvette while he was way over the legal limit. And his life will never be the same as a result of that. And on one hand, I want to understand
That's
you're
tough.
young and you're dumb and you make horrific mistakes, and if you're lucky, you can learn from these horrific mistakes. In Henry Ruggs' case, his mistake was so bad that it ruined multiple people's lives and ended lives. And now he's paying the ultimate price for it. And a lot of people think it should have been way worse. And the reason I'm bringing this up is a huge parallel is being drawn between what happened with Henry Ruggs and what happened with Rashee Rice. As according to Adam Schefter, police are currently searching for Rashee Rice due to a major accident. Now, this is really scary if you think about it. Here's the official video.
Live look now
Oh, they got
at
a video?
75 Central Expressway near Lovers Lane in Dallas. Just minutes ago, Dallas police told us multiple cars were involved in an accident there in the northbound lanes. At least one person is in the hospital tonight.
Because according to ESPN, police are searching for Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice in their investigation of a major accident Saturday in Dallas, according to the Dallas Morning News. And the details are just bizarre at the time that we're recording this video. A police call sheet obtained by the Dallas Morning News confirmed that officials were searching for Rashee Rice in connection with the crash. A Dallas police spokeswoman told the newspaper that a driver in a Chevrolet Corvette and a driver in a Lamborghini were speeding and both lost control in their vehicles, with the Lamborghini hitting the median wall and causing a chain reaction collision involving 4 other vehicles.
Damn.
And this is where some of the parallels are being drawn. Henry Ruggs was in a Chevy Corvette when he got into his car crash. Now, at the time that I'm recording this, we don't know if this is a DUI, but the assumption is that these 2 vehicles, the Lamborghini and the Corvette, were racing one another, which is not a good look either. The police spokeswoman told the Morning News that occupants of the Lamborghini and the Corvette ran from the crash site. She said 4 people had minor injuries, including 2 who were taken to the hospital. If you take a look at the pictures as well, the story is very jarring. The pictures came to us via TMZ. So according to this, the car accident that cops say Rashee Rice's vehicle was involved in was a mess on the side of a freeway in Dallas, which you can see in the photos from the scene that TMZ obtained, including what we're told are some of the occupants beelining it out of there. And I think that's the worst look of all. I mean, getting into a car accident and then just running out of there, it's kind of an admission of guilt. Maybe you're trying to hide something after doing something very reckless also. I personally don't respect it, but as you could take a look at the pictures, you could obviously see how bad the damage was done.
Damn.
Not only do you see what it all looked like once first responders arrived, but eyewitnesses tell us these photos also capture some of the guys who were allegedly in the 2 cars involved in causing this mess, and you can see them casually leaving the scene. So there are 5 dudes specifically in question here, and we're told once the dust settled, they all popped out of the Corvette and the Lambo.
Was Rice there,
Both of which are
though?
alleged to have been speeding before things went south, and walked away along the side of the freeway. Unclear where they went, and unclear if Rashee himself was in the mix. In any
Word.
case, cops now say they want to speak with Rashee because they say one of the vehicles that was alleged to have been speeding is registered to the Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver. Now, the cops didn't say which vehicle belonged to him, nor did they
But
say
was he seen
suspect.
leaving the scene of the
Cops do
crime?
say a total of 6 vehicles were torn up due to this accident, and there were only minor injuries as a result. Still, they're obviously trying to pin down who these fellows were, as police allege that they straight up left without checking on anyone or leaving any info. So here's where it gets a little tricky. because
Felony.
According to these photos of TMZ, there is this one image with a human that does slightly resemble Rashee Rice. And it's kind of difficult to determine whether or not this is Rashee because I can't tell if he has the same tattoos or anything. The only thing we could really tell is you can tell that he has a bracelet on his left wrist here. And if you go into his Instagram, on one of his Instagram photos, he has the same exact bracelet. But again, very difficult for me to tell from this picture if that definitely is Rashee Rice. It does resemble him though. And as time went on, we actually got dash cam footage of this entire situation so you could see how it all went down. And apparently this involved a mother and her 4-year-old child as well. And I think the craziest part about this is you could see this all go down in real time. And as it does go down in real time, the immediate reaction seems to be for those involved in the accident to get out of the car as soon as possible. And it seems like they're walking away from the scene immediately. Like, it's almost as if that was their immediate reaction, so to speak. So obviously it's a very tough situation for Rashee.
Just leave the cars behind. Leave the $500,000 cars behind, bruh. We'll figure it out. We'll find our way back home.
The incident. At the end of the day, I'm just thankful that this wasn't any worse than what it could have been. I'm glad that their lives were lost. But at the same time, racing with a Corvette and a Lamborghini Urus is absolute insanity on the highway. Especially because Corvettes are notorious for their poor handling. But
I've heard that about Corvettes too.
On the highway to begin with. I'm just happy that everyone's alive, and it could have been way, way worse. But at the same time, I can't really give my full judgment on the situation until we really find out what happened, whether Rashee was involved or whether his boys were just taking his vehicle out for a joyride. So let me know in the comments.
Either way, charges are pending.
Man, aside from that, I'm your boy Mike.
Listen, man. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yo, that was Rashee Rice coming out the car, bro, because I didn't know how he looked before this incident, bro. I know his name, bro. But that's how it is with athletes. Thankfully, nobody died, bro. I would say this is a learning lesson. This is a wake-up call. But nowadays, people don't really learn their lessons until they're faced with the punishment of their actions. But thankfully, nobody died, bro. But this was police looking for Rashee Rice. Y'all let me know in the comment section what you think the Chiefs are going to do if it was found out that it was him. I mean, crazy, man. But at least nobody died, right? Because it could always be, you know, a Henry Ruggs situation. My bad.